The Biden organization focused Tuesday at the fentanyl dealing danger, declaring a progression of prosecutions and approvals against Chinese organizations and leaders faulted for bringing in the synthetic substances used to make the destructive medication. Authorities depicted the activities, which incorporate charges against 8 Chinese organizations blamed for publicizing, fabricating and appropriating antecedent synthetic compounds for engineered narcotics like fentanyl, as the most recent exertion in their battle against the deadliest excess emergency in U.S. history. The moves come one day before senior organization authorities are set to visit Mexico, whose cartels are important for the worldwide dealing organization, for gatherings expected to include conversation of the medication danger. We realize that this organization incorporates the cartel's chiefs, their medication dealers, their tax criminals, their surreptitious lab administrators, their security powers, their weapons providers, and their substance providers, head legal officer Merrick Festoon said at a news gathering. Furthermore, we realize that this worldwide fentanyl production network, which closes with the passings of Americans, frequently begins with substance organizations in China. Other than charging 8 organizations, the Equity Office likewise prosecuted 12 leaders for their supposed jobs in drug dealing. In a planned activity, the Depository Division reported sanctions against 28 individuals and organizations generally in China yet additionally in Canada that will remove them from the U.S. monetary framework and forbid anybody in the U.S. from working with them. None of those charged has been captured, yet Laurel said investigators plan to deal with all of these litigants. It's the most recent move toward the fast increasing of our work focusing on the monetary streams that power the worldwide unlawful medication exchange, said Agent Depository Secretary Wally Adeyemo. He said Depository is likewise searching out the companions, relatives, and partners of individuals who benefit from drug deals. Assuming you benefit from the returns of this illegal action, we will come after your resources, he said. Mexico and China are the essential hotspots for fentanyl and fentanyl-related substances dealt straightforwardly into the U.S. as indicated by the Medication Authorization Organization, which is entrusted with fighting unlawful medication dealing. Virtually all the antecedent necessary synthetics to make fentanyl come from China. Furthermore, the organizations that make the forerunners regularly utilize counterfeit return addresses and mislabel the items to try not to be gotten by policing. One of the models referred to by the Equity Division includes a Chinese drug innovation organization that promoted xylazine, a pony sedative that is frequently blended to fentanyl to guarantee a more intense high, and sent the synthetic substances to the U.S. furthermore, to Mexico. One of the buyers in Mexico, authorities said, was a medication dealer related with the Sinaloa cartel. This most recent activity follows a progression of measures required for this present year against individuals from the Sinaloa cartel, cash messengers and cartel extortion plans. Conservatives have grumbled, in any case, that the organization isn't doing what's needed to stop fentanyl and the issue is probably going to figure conspicuously in the following year's official mission. In February, 21 conservative state lawyers general composed a letter to President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Antony Blinken approaching them to assign Mexican medication cartels as unfamiliar fear-based oppressor associations. Last year, a gathering of conservative lawyers general requested that the president pronounce fentanyl a weapon of mass obliteration. No such moves have been made. Fentanyl, a strong narcotic, is the deadliest medication in the U.S. today. The Communities for Infectious Prevention and Anticipation expresses that medication glut passings have expanded more than 7-fold from 2015 to 2021. In excess of 100,000 passings a year have been connected to Medicaid gluts beginning around 2020 and around 66% of those are connected with fentanyl. The loss of life is in excess of 10-fold the number of medication passings as in 1988, at the level of the break pestilence. The U.S. has made a large number of moves to stem the tide of fentanyl coming into the country. Generally speaking, the Biden organization has forced more than 200 approvals connected with the unlawful medication exchange. State officials cross-country are answering the deadliest excess emergency in U.S. history by pushing crueler punishments for having fentanyl. In a discourse at the family culmination on fentanyl last week, Laurel said the equity division was conveying some $345 million in government financing throughout the following year, including cash to help coaching for in-danger youngsters and increment admittance to the excess inversion drug naloxone. On State House slope, a bipartisan gathering of lawmakers out of the Senate Banking and Equipped Administrations Boards has presented regulation that would pronounce fentanyl dealing a public crisis and nudge depository to utilize its approvals position to control the expansion of the medication in the U.S. It would likewise force revealing prerequisites and empower the president to seize authorized property of fentanyl dealers to use for policing. Related press correspondent Lindsay Whitehurst in Wilmington, Delaware, added to this report.